All right, Eric. Again, I'm a retard. So talk to me about the Descendents.
Wow. Where did we start?
Oh,
What was the first thing I talked about?
the story about you going to fucking the Descendents and the tape and the show. And
Okay. So basically, I was a metalhead growing up in high school. That was all I did was listen to metal, and it was kind of forbidden. It was like this weird, unspoken status quo thing to like not listen to punk rock. It was like metal versus punk rock, and all the metalheads were like, punk rock's not real music, They're not real musicians. They don't know how to fucking jam or whatever. And the Descendents were one of the first bands that turned me on to different music because they had that poppiness that I'm a total sucker for. In addition to that, they totally rocked. So it was like not that much of a stretch for me to go from metal to the Descendents. Because I had a Black Flag record, and it was pretty cool, but it was a little too angry for me. And the Descendents sang about girls, and they had really good melodies. You always went back to their songs because the melodies were really, really strong. I don't know
you went off on a tangent about something about a tape, about the Enjoy tape.
Oh yeah, so when I was working at the movie theater in high school, there was this chick I worked with, and she used to listen to all the weird bands, and she brought in a cassette of Descendents Enjoy, and Get the Time and Sour Grapes were like immediately two of my favorite songs. And ironically, the funny thing is I think that album has Hurtin' Crew on it, which is the Descendants making fun of Motley Crue, which was one of the metal bands that I actually chose to hate because I was like such a big music fan that I always had problems with other bands, and I had to like pick and choose, And Motley Crue I didn't like because I thought they ripped off Kiss too much with their whole look, and I was a big Kiss fan, so I was like, fuck the Crue, man. And Vince Neil's a fucking sucker. And so then they put out Hurtin' Crew on Enjoy, and so immediately I was way into them even more because of that.
What about having Stefan play with you on your record? And
having Stefan play on our record was amazing because we used to call that song the Descendants rip-off song, and it was us just being really bold and calling him up because we'd met him because he'd come to a couple of our shows and he really liked the band, and we were really blown away by that, and we just decided, what can it hurt? We'll call him, see if he wants to play on it, and we knew exactly what song to do it on, and so we just sent it to him in the mail, and he put a guitar solo on it and sent it back, and it was perfect. So yeah, that was awesome. That was a really big honor. I couldn't believe that this guy whose records I've been listening to since high school would play on my record. That was pretty sweet.
Again, about the thing about the debt that rock and roll or their historical perspective as far as where the Descendants situate themselves.
Cobes makes noise. I don't know, man. I think whether they know it or not, all the pop punk bands around today owe a huge debt of gratitude to the Descendants because they were one of the first bands to A, sing about girls, and B, have like crazy catchy melodies. I mean, they covered a fucking Beach Boys song, for Christ's sake, and I don't think punk rock was invented to cover Beach Boys songs. So that was pretty bold,
and it worked.
And it worked. It was kick-ass. And that was another song. We used to cover that one and Get the Time. We used to cover in my high school band. We covered Def Leppard and AC/DC and Anthrax and the Descendents. Like, it totally didn't fit at all, but we were all really into that record. So yeah, I mean, all those bands, that are playing today, I don't know, they probably know, but their fans probably don't know how much, they owe the Descendants. Yeah, and I almost saw them once too, in the 80s. I ended up seeing them on the Everything Sucks tour, the reunion tour, which was fucking kick-ass. That was an amazing show. And also it was amazing because I have, 10 years of built-up frustration from never seeing them. But yeah, getting to see them in the 80s would have been cool. They were supposed to play at the Outhouse, which was the little dive punk rock joint in Lawrence that everybody played at when they came through town. And you'd have to talk to the guys for sure. I can't remember exactly what happened, but either the van broke down or they broke up on the way there or something. But on the All tour, they were supposed to come to Lawrence and they didn't. And so I didn't ever get to see them back in when Everything Sucks came out, and it was such a great record too, that was even cooler. Because going to reunion shows kick ass just to go see the old tunes, but on that tour it was, you know, the new songs I liked as much as I liked the old ones. So
Any final thoughts?
Bill Stevenson's a badass drummer.